Football fans, well, here we are. It seems like it's yesterday. The Super Bowl has come to a close, or had come to a close, and here we are, right back at it with the NFL Combine. This has been an incredible day, because I love this late start. I got a chance to do a lot this morning and get a lot done. And then, of course, enjoy some great football. So, with that said, welcome to our official 4-show series of the 2020 NFL Combine. Hope you're all ready. It's going to be a fun one. We got day number 1 in the books. And that was a great day, number 1. I'll tell you what, we nearly had a record set. We had some extremely talented wide receivers who I am very excited, so excited to see at the next level. I will tell you that. And, of course, we had some tight ends who I think everyone was talking about the receiver class. I mean, seriously, y'all, this tight end class looks pretty good. So, with all that, we got plenty to talk about tonight in our 1-hour recap of the 2020 NFL Combine Day 1 recap here. So, hopefully you're all strapped in and ready to rock and roll, because I'm ready to bring it to you late night here, right here with your boy Larry B. So, let's jump a little bit into the action, because it was a good one. I'll tell you, the quarterbacks, I have a lot to say about them, for interesting reasons. You will see. Also, as we get into the receivers, I will tell you my top right now. If I had to draft tomorrow who I am taking and why, I analyzed everything, y'all. The drills, everything. I was in front of the TV from 1 p.m. Pacific time all the way until right now, 8 p.m. Pacific time, okay? So I enjoyed dinner while watching this. That's just how it's going to be the next couple of days, all right? So, with that said, I'll be ready. Let's rock and roll. It is show number 1 of the recap of day number 1 in the 2020 NFL Combine. Let's do it! Welcome, football fans. Well, here we are yet again. I'll tell you what, that was a great day. So let's go ahead and give everybody that participated today, y'all. I'm talking about everybody. From the tight ends who started it off earlier, all the way into the wide receivers and the quarterbacks, both groups. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a great NFL Combine. So let's give them all a hand. That was awesome. And on top of that, I got to say one more thing. I gotta give big ups, of course, to everybody tuning in, because y'all are awesome. And I gotta give, of course, big ups to the previous shows that were on today. Man, all except for 1 hour today that the Combine was on, we've had shows on pretty much the entire time, with a few hours in between. But of course, big ups to Miss Caitlin Seam, who started off the day today, earlier at 2 p.m. Pacific time, Eastern time. She went ahead and brought us a little bit of her Combine news as well as plenty other sports. And Not What It Seems with Miss Caitlin Seam. Then we had a double dosage of Caitlin as usual with Mr. Daryl Kinsey Jr. and Miss Caitlin Seam for the extra mile. And then right now, just before this show, you had the awesome baseball show here on iSports Radio, of course. Bases loaded with Mr. Brandon Buckingham and H-Town Blake. So I gotta give them a big round of applause real quick. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, lady. Thank you all. Appreciate you so much. And as I always say, last but certainly never least, and of course is the reason why we're all here, ladies and gentlemen. Big ups to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for without him nothing is possible. And big ups to all of you who tune in and make IE Sports Radio what it is. We could appreciate y'all more. I love you all. We love you all. Thank you. All right, so with that said, y'all, let's go ahead and jump on in to the recap of day number 1. Now, we had some awesome stuff, y'all. I really enjoyed this. So, if you're tuning in on the East Coast, I really appreciate you because it is 11 o'clock over there, 11 p.m. But if you're tuning in on the West Coast or anywhere in between, hey, appreciate you for tuning in, and let's have a great show. So, first and foremost, let's go ahead. I will be using the Combine Tracker for anything I may have missed. Of course, I'll be taking I have all my notes here, all my tweets is pretty much all I'll be going over and memory. But let's go ahead. We have one full hour here of nonstop and no breaks. We're gonna have some fun here. Well, maybe a break or two in between. We'll see. But let's go ahead and jump on into the first batch of athletes, and that was the tight ends. Okay, so first things first. The tight ends were freaking legit. We had an incredibly good tight end class this year, or we have an incredibly good tight end class this year, because let me go and explain a few things, okay? We're going to get a little bit of, for some of you who are new, I'm going to try and, this season I'm going to have a little bit of fun. Usually I try to do that too, like a little bit of a breakdown of, for those who may not know football so much, you're kind of new to football, I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit further to where I can make it easy for you to explain, because so hey, we can get more football fans. Enjoy it, and then I'll explain it to you. Instead of like, oh yeah, tight end, this is the reason why I'm looking at X, Y, and Z measurements, and you're like, well, aren't they just football players? Well, no, they're specialists in certain areas, and this is why I'm looking at this measurement for this certain group, and this is why I'm looking at this measurement for this certain group. So, you know, in a sense, you'll kind of understand. So, I'm getting a little more breakdown-wise, but you'll see. And hey, let me know in the chat room if you agree. We'll find out. So, let's go ahead and get into the recap, shall we? All right, so, first things first. Getting on early into the tight ends, I wanted to go ahead and jump on into the bench presses because seriously, I want to shout these guys out real quick, man. Charlie Warner, I don't want to butcher his name, but I think it's how you say his name. Warner, W-O-E, or Woner, W-O-E-R-N-E-R, out of Georgia. This dude is legit, man. Him, Dalton Keene out of Virginia Tech, Bryson Hopkins out of Purdue, Jared Pinkney out of Vanderbilt, Vandy, of course, Hunter Bryant out of Washington, and Josiah DeGura out of Cincinnati. All those cats hit over 20 in the bench, which is pretty important for a lot of tight ends. Reason being is you gotta have at least a somewhat strong tight end, okay? And, in my opinion, offensive linemen all need to be over 30. I mean, I would rather have them all over 40. But usually they're in the 30 range. 30 is between 30 and 40 of reps of 225 on the bench press. Now, why is that something that I'm really, keen about? Well, I think it's pretty simple for all of the diehard fans. And for those of you who may not know football so well, tight ends are a hybrid. They're a mixture. They're a mixture position. This is a position of big boys who are either, well, we always say that they're too small to play offensive line, but they're too big to play receiver. Well, what does that mean? You kind of have to have the best of both worlds, meaning that you do have to have hands, of course, because you're a receiver. You are an eligible receiver, but you're a bigger receiver. You're usually a pretty big target. And you also need to know how to block. And you also are going to be brought in for certain packages. For instance, if you're going to be running really anything. I mean, you bring in the tight end. Well, the tight end is usually where we call the strength 2. So you're going to have a defensive end lined up over that tight end. So they need to be able to take on defensive ends. And we're talking about guys like Nick Bosa, okay? We're talking about guys like, of course, like that monster, okay, over there in San Francisco, Bosa. We're talking about guys like Ryan Kerrigan, okay? Another freak of nature. We're talking about guys like Khalil Mack, yes. We're talking about those types of guys that these tight ends must be able to block. So, these guys have to be somewhat strong. They gotta be able to hold their ground. Now, of course, you're gonna see a lot of tight ends who will do that whole, block release, and that's something that's, I don't think it's fairly new, but it's something that's been, it's something that's worked into a lot of playbooks. You're going to see a lot of short routes, a lot of dump passes. Usually your tight ends are pretty tall guys, long arms, that can get up and catch the ball, one-on-one positions. We like to relate them because, of course, a lot, and today, tonight, I'll bring in some of those. For instance, like boxing out. We've said that, you hear that before. But like Antonio Gates, his story is incredibly unique. He played football, I think, in high school, but he went to college for basketball. He played basketball and then decided that he was going to play professional basketball. He was going to enter the NFL draft, and he did. And he got drafted, and now he's, I believe, a Hall of Fame. Okay, I mean, I know he's not yet, but I do believe that he should be a Hall of Famer one day in the NFL because of how great he was. So, I mean, really, Antonio Gates, I mean, he gets retired this past year, but, I mean, that's the 5, okay, in basketball, the center, the big boy, like Shaq. In the ability to box out, that's it. Go up, get the rebound, and box out. So in football, it's like go up, get the catch, and there it is. So you don't have to necessarily box out, take off running, or in the end zone, you like to use a big tight end target because, well, there they are. It's a big guy, it's a big body to hit. So to throw the ball to, so this is a very unique group of players, and tight ends are pretty special. We're going to actually break down, you're going to get my breakdown all 4 days. Well, the next 4 days, of course, with the Combine, but you're also going to hear the different breakdowns from all different shows throughout the week next week, which is pretty sweet. We're going to have, I'll be covering the front 7 on the Defining Moment next week. You will hear Mike Pat talking tight ends on Let's Whine About Sports, so that we're going to be breaking it down like that. So we're going to see different positions, different, whoever wants to participate in this, we can get a little more in-depth and in-depth look at players, in a sense, from different opinions. And I just got on the phone with Mike a little bit ago, and he came up with that idea. So big ups and big props to Mr. Mike Pat. Got to show him some love. That's right, y'all. Yeah. Good job, Mike. Good guy, man. So if you're listening, man, big shout out to you, brother. And if not, well then hey, he's probably asleep. It's 1 hour till 11. Well, it's midnight over there in the East Coast. Like I said, it's only an hour show tonight. But, we're going to be doing this today and tomorrow. As a matter of fact, here's the schedule, by the way. This show will be live, of course, tonight. 8 to 9 Pacific time. Then we will have, tomorrow will be the same thing, 8 to 9, same time, to cover, of course, day 2. That'll be running backs, offensive linemen, and special teamers. And then we will have on Saturday, I actually will be, I will be busy, so I won't be doing a show on Saturday night after the Combine, but I will be doing a show on Sunday morning to recap defensive line and linebackers on Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then later on that night after the DB. And of course, I'm excited. I really am excited. I'm going to the race in Fontana. Really excited for that. The Auto Club 400 for NASCAR. So I will be home I'll be home, in the evening, but the show will be from 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Pacific time to of course, the next hour, 8 p.m. Pacific time and 11 p.m. Eastern time. So, anyway, there you go. That is it, and that is the schedule for the next couple of days. Two shows on Sunday, and then tonight and tomorrow. So that's how it looks for these short shows here for the Combine. But okay, let's go ahead and get on into the Combine. All right, we're 14 minutes in. So, all right, let's talk about these guys. So the tight ends are a unique group. Really excited for this group because there was guys that I really, really, really wanted to highlight. Okay, so first and foremost, going on over to the tight ends, as I brought up, I want to talk about the tight ends bench real quick because it's important for tight ends to have a good bench press because, well, they're going to be freaking taking on defensive players. So you kind of need that a little bit. I'm just saying, it's kind of important to have a good bench, or at least a decent bench. Now, you can have different types of tight ends as well. You could have, kind of like how you have different types of defensive players, edge rushers versus gap stuffers, or offensive linemen that are, pass blockers versus pass blockers. I mean, there's just different types of scheme. So it's the same deal here. You have tight ends that are on two different realms. You have the pass blockers, you have the blockers, and you have the more of the receiver tight ends. Now, if you get a tight end that can do it all, that's awesome, okay? That's definitely awesome because, well, that means that you have a dude who is going to be able to help you out in a lot of different ways. And that's like Antonio Gates, the legends, I mean, Antonio Gates is that guy. He would put his hand on the dirt and block, and at the same exact time, he can go up and get a pass, like a rebound. I mean, it's just, that's a special player. Now, not always are the strongest the best, because, well, usually those are the blockers. And maybe they don't have such great hands, maybe they're not that fast. And maybe the receiving tight ends aren't the best, because, why, they can go up and get the ball, and they're more of a receiver. They're not really going to have when it comes to blocking, and if he gets destroyed off the edge, then there goes the whole play. So, once again, I mean, I know there's different sets for coaches, different formations where it's like, all right, well, we'll throw you in for blocking, we'll throw you in for, it happens. There's blocking tight ends, receiving tight ends, yes, for defenses pick up on that all the time, which requires that tight end to do at least a little bit of both to the best of their ability, so that way defenses are like, oh yeah, well, he's in, so it must be a run, or he's in, so it must be a pass. See what I mean? So, but regardless, today there was a couple guys that I just really wanted to highlight, and, well, here we go. So, Josiah Deguara, man, hopefully I'm not butchering his name, but this dude is a freaking beast. 25 reps on bench. That is a pretty good job by him. So out of Cincinnati, 6'2", 242 pounds, big dude, man. And looking at his arm length, pretty good arms, pretty good length, 31 5/8 is his reach, as you could say. So he actually has a pretty good knack to get up there, I'm sure. But the thing is, for him, is his bench press is pretty damn good. So what am I thinking when I see a strong tight end? Well, he's more than likely a pass blocker, but he can probably offer plenty more. I saw him today receiving, he looked pretty good. So overall today, he looked like the complete package. The guy was able to do a lot. He was able to, the over-the-shoulder throws were great. I saw him do a lot of that today. He was usually catching everything. And one thing I liked about him a lot, and you're going to hear me say this a lot today, and usually through all the drills, is they go through the damn cone. I seen some guys today that irritated the living hell out of me, because I'm like, dude, stop stopping before the cone. The coaches are clearly screaming at you. It's always through it, not to it. Okay? I mean, that's the way I've always been coached. You run through the drill. You don't, through the cone. You don't just run to it, or if you drop the ball, you just stop. I mean, no, you keep going. So it was I thought it was really cool to see those guys who were going hard, busting their ass to get through the line, and that was pretty awesome. So, okay, so also after him, you have Hunter Bryant, who hit 23, and he's a pretty big dude out of Washington. I've seen him a lot this year, of course. I'm a Pac-12 guy. At 6'2", 248 pounds, that's pretty big. That's I think Kelsey and Kittle are maybe a little bit taller, but they're right around there. So you see that kind of frame, about 250, 255-ish, 260-ish. Depending on how big you are, but still, pretty big dude, 32 inches for his reach, so not bad. Then we go on here. Okay, and by the way, I saw him as well. Lots of good catches today. He did really well, in particular in the over-the-shoulder. A few different routes. The comeback route he was really good in, which is it's like a candy cane, kind of like not really a hitch, but like a 7-yard cut and return kind of. It's designed to beat linebackers. It's a quick little dump pass over the middle, short yardage type of play, but this is a very key play, especially in a lot of today's football, because it can turn into the dink and dunk type of playing, and if that's the case, well, guess what? You're more than likely going to see a big, tall, strong tight end, come over the middle with maybe a drag route or like that little comeback route, and you're going to start to see those little nickel and dime types of passes. So, yeah, he looked really good at that. Also, another guy who did that really well today, Jared Pinkney, and he hit 23 reps, as a matter of fact, 6'4", 257 pounds. As you can see, it's kind of a trend around this size. 32 7/8 was his arm. His arm length. So another big dude. Okay, this guy, I forgot, Pinkney. He's actually, where did I see? He made a couple really good catches today. And of course, a lot of these guys, I mean, if you're not going to have the best day, everybody, I'm sure. There's a couple guys who had some kind of crappy days too, or a crappy day out here. Not totally, but some of these guys had kind of a rough one. But yeah, he did really well. Also, Bryson Hopkins, 21 today on bench press, and he is out of Purdue, 6'4", 245, 32 arm length, 32 and 1/8. So yeah, as you can see, there's the trend of the size. And another dude who really did, I thought he did extremely well, okay? He actually did really good in the comeback route. There was like the 7-yard in that he caught. He really made a couple really good catches there. And I think, if anything, he did really good in the gauntlet. And the gauntlet is something that a lot of people don't really like. Oh, well, this is, what the hell is this? It's not really, it's where the receiver, you start out, ball, turn around, ball, and then take off down the line, and it's, to your right, catch, left, catch, right, catch, left, catch, right, catch, turn up and go. And this is a great drill. I've heard it be criticized before, and honestly, I think it's a great drill. I don't know why you would criticize this thing, because it teaches you, it's going to happen, where you're going to turn and the ball's going to be right there. So it really teaches you, good hand placement, where to have your hands, where to be, how fast you can react. So I thought that was a very good, a very good drill for him, as well as a couple of others out there today. But we'll get into the receivers in a little bit. Anyway, so back to tight ends real quick. The next guy that I wanted to highlight really quick, because, of course, I'm going off their bench reps, but this is the strongest guys for sure. And then Dalton Keene. And Dalton Keene, honestly, it's hard for me to say he's not my number one complete tight end, because he's a freak of nature. 6'4", 253 pounds, as you can see, yet again, consistent with the size. Okay, 32 and 1/4 arms, okay, arm length. But overall, the guy was freakish. He did extremely well. I don't think he dropped one ball today. He's extremely attentive, did what the coaches told him to do. And more than anything, what I liked about this guy was when they did Fred the sled, by the way, they brought a sled out there, which I'm so excited they did that, because when you can bring a sled into the equation, usually they have a guy holding a bag. And that's kind of annoying, because if you have a dude with a sled, if you have a guy with a bag, they're just going to give, and you can see, like, oh, they're just going to hit the bag and then high point it and push it up and drive their hips. Yeah, that's not how it works in football. So the sled is not going, it's a freaking sled, okay? It's pretty heavy. You're going to hit, and they had a plate on the back of it. You're going to hit the damn sled, and if you go high, the sled's not going to go anywhere. You're going to stalemate, stand straight up. It happened to a couple of guys today. And also, if you, you have to hit it at just the right angle and then drive your legs. And I think that this sled today did way more justice than holding a bag ever would. Of course, they used to switch off, you hit, okay, now you hold the bag. And it's just, I don't know. I think you got more out of the sled today. So, the sled was pretty freaking cool, okay? I thought that was a great drill. But let's go ahead and talk about some 40s real fast. Okay, Hunter Bryant clocked a 4.75. This was really good, because I wanted to highlight that he got 23 reps of bench. Okay, that is an incredible combination, because now you have a player who he's strong. He's strong. And now he's got a pretty damn good, in my opinion, a very good 40 time for a big guy like him, okay? And then on top of that, bringing it all together, Bryson Hopkins jumped a 33.5. That's actually very good. 33 it's not easy, okay? That's a pretty good vert, and you want something like that. Usually the elite jumpers are jumping around 35 and higher, but still, these guys, that goes to show you, he can high point the ball, he can get up high. The highest today, vertical, was actually a dude that two guys that I really want to highlight. Cole Kmet, okay, and this guy continues to show why he's so good. Out of Notre Dame, 6'6", 262 pounds, 33-inch arms. He is extremely fast. Okay, he has good agility, and he knows how to get out. Like, he knows how to get, he knows how to break. Like, he has good breaking speed. Like, he closes in on the ball. I've seen him today on various occasions. Him and Claypool, as a matter of fact, we'll get to him in a little bit from Notre Dame, but they have this closing speed about them that was very, very, very good. So I enjoyed watching those Notre Dame guys out there today, because they played extremely well. So, so once again, Bryson Hopkins, man, he just looked really good. Jumped to 33, as I just mentioned, okay? Clocked a 4.67, hit 21 reps on bench. That, to me, is a complete player. He looked good. He didn't drop any balls, I don't think. At least I can't remember, but He looked pretty damn good out there, okay? Then, of course, then you have the broad jump, which is explosion. Pure explosion, okay? So, Bryson Hopkins will jump a 116, so 116 inches, okay? So, he is a very explosive guy. I mean, if you want to convert that, let's go ahead and convert that real quick. Google, thank you, Google. Okay, so 9 feet, 8 inches. So, that shows you explosion. This guy is extremely talented already because he is able to, he's able to catch, he has good hands, he has good speed, and, well, agility, his 40 looks pretty damn good, his size is pretty good, and on top of that, he seems like he has good IQ, and on top of that, he's a strong guy. So, really, you put all that together, and that's what makes the player. Not just one measurement, but that right there is a great job by Bryson Hopkins. I hope he goes somewhere in the second round. I mean, if he goes the first round, that'd be awesome. But okay, now the next guy, I'm not going to try and butcher his name, but I'm going to try my best. Albert Okwuegbunam. I'm not going to butcher his name no more. But Albert O, as Mike and I were talking a little bit ago on the phone, he clocked a 4.49. Okay, he is 6'5", 258 pounds. That is moving for a big dude, okay? He is a freak of nature type of tight end, okay? Why? Not only did he clock that, he jumped, let's see, he actually did not do the broad jump, okay, well, my apologies. Let's see where his vertical was, if he did do the vertical, and he did not, so he ahead and forewent the jumps, which is totally cool. Some of these guys will forego certain exercises because, they just, maybe they have a pro day or something lined up, but I don't even think he did the bench press, no, I think he just did the drills in his 40. But other than that, he looked really good, guys. He honestly looked pretty good today. Another player to keep your eye on because that's pretty good. A 4.49 is extremely fast for a big dude. So that shows you his speed. On top of that, you have Adam Trotman, who clocked a 4.79, and altogether with 18 reps on bench at 6'5", 255 pounds, I thought he was very good. Of course, he's out of a small school, okay? He's out of an FCS school. He plays out of Dayton, so he was a Dayton Flyer, so you already know he has to work really hard to get there. We have a guy like him coming up tomorrow, as a matter of fact, by the name of Ben Barch, who I was very impressed with in Senior Bowl practice and the Senior Bowl, and he's actually out of Division 3, if you guys remember Ollie Marpet. I think he's still on the Buccaneers, but yeah, he played for Hobart Division 3, so I just think it's awesome when you see these guys come from small schools because they already had to work hard to get there, so they're going to be a standout no matter what, because they had to be a standout no matter what to get to where they are. So, good stuff there. Next up, we had, let's see here, Dalton Keene, by the way, would do really well. He actually went a little bit up. He ran a 4.72 as his final, so the young man of Virginia Tech shows how potent he can really be. As I mentioned, he did really good in drills. His footwork was amazing overall when you've seen him running these routes, and he actually looked pretty good on the sled as well. Good job by this group of tight ends overall. I thought that was absolutely awesome. Like, these guys did really, really well. Also, Albert O, I'm going to butcher his name, he clocked a 4.5 for his 40. As I mentioned, extremely good, okay? He's a big dude, and he did not jump, which really kind of bummed me because I want to see his jumps. Regardless, though, with that 40 time, he's already off to a good start. So, those, for the most part, were my standout tight ends. I have a few more. Charlie Warner and Dom Wood Anderson, and Warner, of course, out of Georgia, so there's two SEC guys, and Dom Wood Anderson out of Tennessee. What I liked about these guys is they were doing everything 100% to the best of their ability. They were screaming down the field whenever they were, going, running a route, and then after they would catch the ball, they would scream right back up the field. I mean, seriously, these guys were always going. They were always on a hop, and during the route, they were constantly, as I mentioned, they were on a hop. They were going through the entire cone. They weren't going through the motions. They were going through the cone. They were actually doing the drill. So I thought that was great, and there was a very, very, very good correlation with the numbers and with the I guess you can say the. Oh boy, good way to brain fart, Larry. There was a great correlation with the numbers and the consistency of how hard these guys worked on the field, the delinquency. So also, there was another correlation with the sled and with the strength, okay? Joshua Deguara, Bryson Hopkins, and Dalton Keene. Guess what? Those guys were in the top 5 bench pressers, and they all did really dang good on the bag. What does that mean? They can probably block pretty good. So that's what I'm getting at. That was a pretty good job there about those guys. Moving forward in the, for receiver, when they were doing the gauntlet, Dalton Keene and Cole Kmet did very good. Both these guys caught every ball down the line, stayed on the line as best as possible, and really turned up and took off. I really liked that a lot. Another guy, Steven Sullivan, looked really good today. He, oh my gosh, let me see. Did he clock his 40? He did 4.66, so it wasn't the best, okay? But then again, he's a big guy. You're not going to expect a big guy to always record that incredibly crazy time, okay? Steven Sullivan, he's pretty damn big. His measurements, I just had them, but I lost it. I had to refresh the page. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, these are pretty big guys, okay? So you're gonna get, okay, so he's 6'5", 248. So yeah, you're gonna get guys who aren't going to be as fast. But then again, as I mentioned, he's a hybrid between a receiver and a lineman, basically. So, good job. And he's also the teammate of Thaddeus Moss, who did not participate. Apparently, and Mike told me earlier, there was ESPN breaking news that he actually has fractures in his foot, which is why he didn't do anything in the combine, which really sucks. I guess he showed up and they had found that he had fractures in his foot, which really sucks. So I hope he's okay moving forward. And he heals up fast, but his teammate Steven Sullivan looked really good out there today, and he played very well. So, he did really well in all the drills, broke down whenever it was time to catch. I mean, in any of the routes, you can see his footwork was really good, didn't take extra steps, really good job. So, then after that, we saw, let's see here, the corner routes, which I was very impressed by Dalton Keene, Hunter Bryant, Josiah Deguara, Dom Wood-Anderson, Devin, Asiasi, I don't want to butcher his name, and Charlie Warner and Mitchell Wilcox. They all look pretty good on these corner routes because that's usually for the speedy tight ends. These are more of you're going to send your more receiver-like tight ends on long patterns. You're going to give them a little more leeway, as you would with a blocking tight end, where you're going to have them in there for more of your running plays, or maybe even like decoy, but that can vary. But regardless, those were my standouts for the corner route, and those were like my major athletes that kind of stood out, that were doing really good on those routes. And then we got into, as I mentioned, the guys I just wanted to point out here at the end of the route, the ones who stood out in the fade route, which is like the box out drill, once again, Dalton Keene and Charlie Warner. So overall, guys, as you can see, I'm sticking around the same types of names. No diss to everybody else, but these were my main standouts to be watching for them draft, and I guys deserve the highest grades because they looked really well. So let's move it on now over to the first group of wide receivers and quarterbacks. This was actually a very good and deep receiver class, and the quarterbacks weren't too bad themselves, okay? So let's go ahead and jump on into this. We got about 30 minutes left here on the show. So first things first, Quintez Cephus. This guy was amazing, okay? He had 23 reps on the bench, looked pretty damn good, and bench isn't the biggest thing you measure for a receiver. Still, guys, that's impressive. 23 reps for a receiver is pretty tough. Now, granted, he's actually a bigger receiver. He's not extremely tall at 6'1", but he's, a little more meat on him at 202 pounds. And it just, goes to show you that he would probably be a little stronger. He's a little more weight. He's a big guy. So, overall, looking at a wide receiver today, he was absolutely the standout when it came to bench and a couple other more measurements, okay? So, a very good athlete indeed he is. However, when it came to certain things like, for instance, the 40, somebody, usually the biggest bench isn't going to give you the best time, and usually the biggest, the fastest 40 is going to give you the biggest bench. Once again, it's kind of where you are in the middle. Now, with wide receiver, you're going to want, more than likely, instead of the big strong receiver, which don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the big strong receiver. We have guys like, I mean, if you remember Anquan Bolden, or you have a guy like Megatron, you know, you have those big strong guys that are tough. Andre Johnson, for those of you who remember him, just those big, tough, strong receivers. They're damn good. They're probably not burners, but it's a different style of receiver, you know. And then you got the speedy guys, the Tyreek Hill types, you know, the Deebo Samuel types, as you can see from last year. Of course, he was here last year and did really well. So, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna kind of combine the two groups together in a sense. But as you can see, taking a look here, though Cephus did really well in the bench press, I just want to use him as an example. You can look at his 40 time, and I think he was like a 4.7, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he was actually the slowest. Okay, so this is a great example, okay? He was the strongest receiver, but he was the slowest by a tenth of a second. He was a 4.73, and that was the slowest time recorded today. However, he was also the strongest. So, as you can see, you know, one goes off of the other. As I mentioned, you're not going to be the strongest and the fastest. And if you are, well, then you're just a freak of nature, and I'm sure any team would want you. But I'm just saying, for the most part, you're going to get that. You're going to get the players who, you know, one or the other. So, for that young man, I really do think that Cephus really, I mean, out of Wisconsin, he looked really good. For the most part, though, in all of his drills, he caught pretty much every ball, and his comeback route was amazing. He runs a very good fade route. I mean, it's like the quarterbacks hit him in stride today. The gauntlet he looked really well in, so he was a big standout for me. Also, take a look here, going to quarterbacks, Eason. So, throwing the fade route today, it's hard because, okay, this is my, I don't have a beef with pro days, I don't. Because a pro day is a chance for you to showcase your talents, you know, at home, in front of the home crowd, in front of, you know, in your stadium, at home with your receivers. But at the same exact time, that's familiar territory. That's you're throwing to your guys. Your pro day is with your guys. So, pro day is cool and all, but I just feel like the combine is more beneficial because you're going out there catching balls or throwing to guys who you've probably never thrown to. And if you have, it might have been high school. But I'm just saying, or maybe if you both went to the draft, I mean, from the same team. But usually it's, you know, that's the fun part about it is, and what really shows that you can work with anybody is the combine. So no diss on pro days, but I just really prefer the combine. That's why I get kind of irritated when I hear like, oh, well, so-and-so's not going to throw. Really? Or so-and-so's not going to run their 40 here. Like, okay, come on. You know, like, is what it is, and I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's kind of annoying because it's the combine. This is what it's for. So if you choose not to do it here, it doesn't make a difference, really, but I would just rather see them all do it here because this is the stage that it's for, if that makes any sense. So anyway, with that said, moving forward, the big thing that you want measured for a receiver, and this is about as real as it gets, y'all. I mean, you want a good release for sure. And you want a really good vertical. Well, why does that matter? Because that's how high you jump, that's how, you know, how much you get up there. And on top of that, your 40 time, your explosion, and then your release, you know. So usually I look at things like vertical, broad jump, and because that's your explosion, and of course your 40 time with a receiver. Now, today, going over to the fastest receiver, of course, we all thought, a lot of people did think that Ruggs III was actually going to break Henry Ruggs III was going to break the record, and he was close. Okay, it was, let's see here, it was the 0.5 of a second off. Okay, he was so close. But he ran a 4.27. Of course, as we know, John Ross, a couple years back, did break the record. But with a 4.27, that is still flying, okay? That is extremely fast, like track speed right there, as they were saying today. So, Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama just showcases how good he really is. And, I mean, his height, everything kind of goes with it. He is definitely a burner. at 5'11", 188 pounds. I mean, he has 30.5-inch arms. He is a very good player, okay? Even his hands, okay? He has 10 and 1/8 hands, okay? So really, he's a very, very good deep threat, if you will, which, I mean, he could be like another Tyreek Hill type, and he has a damn good speed. Okay, so great job to him. Also, a guy that kind of went under the radar today, Quez Watkins, clocked a 3.48 officially here out of Southern Miss. He's a 6 foot, 185 pound guy. And I think that kind of just went under the radar. I mean, well, maybe not. I'm sure people did see that. But this guy could end up being somewhere. He could be a sleeper. Like, seriously, he could end up going to some place like how the Chiefs just picked up Tyreek Hill, out of nowhere. Or like Deebo Samuel. He wasn't necessarily like the biggest burner. But still, freak of nature. Fast out of South Carolina that nobody really paid attention to. He looked good in the Senior Bowl. He looked good in Senior Bowl practice, and then went to the Combine, looked pretty good, and the Niners were like, we've seen enough, we want this guy, and look at how good he's been for them, or how good he was last year. So you have that, and there you go. So we'll get into some receivers right now, but let's take a quick look at some of the quarterbacks, because the quarterbacks actually started off here with their 40s. So Jacob Eason actually ran a 4.9 today, which, that's not bad. It's not. Jacob Eason isn't necessarily your tuck and run quarterback. He's not that guy. He's more of a pocket passer. Don't forget he was behind Fromm at Georgia. They're talking about that today, and Fromm beat him out in training camp, and he transferred to Washington, and that was pretty awesome. It was cool because he got to go somewhere else and showcase his talent. A lot of like how Kelly Bryant left after Trevor Lawrence beat him out at Clemson. He left, or how Jalen Hurts, how he got beat out by Tagovailoa, how he went to Oklahoma. So it's a trend. It happens, y'all. But overall, I thought that both these guys are pretty good today, both Jacob Eason and Fromm. So first things first, I gotta tell you right now, Eason looked pretty composed. He wasn't the best thrower with accuracy, but overall accuracy, I can say that he needs to work on that, which that's always hard, the long ball. The shorter stuff can be kind of hard sometimes too, and I think he kind of struggled with the long stuff, but the short stuff he was very accurate on, okay? There was a lot of comeback routes today that he was right on the money. A lot of the quick routes he was good for, but when it came to those longer routes like that streak route, it's always tough because you're trying to hit that guy you're trying to hit him in stride, and if you don't know him, this is where knowing your receiver can kind of, this is where it can come into play, where you can really know your guy and know his speed and know where to put it and where he's going to be at an exact time. So that's why at the Combine, because if you're throwing good balls to these guys, it's because you can just pick up on their speed and throw it and trust them to go get it. Now, a lot of these guys had great closing speed, as I mentioned. Claypool, we'll talk about him in a few minutes, but guys like him can just have that catch-up, that closing speed. Awesome stuff there, but Eason needs to work a little bit more on his deep accuracy, because a lot of these guys, these quarterbacks, the guy from Princeton, I'll talk about him in a few minutes, these balls were just kind of drifting a little bit. Even Jalen Hurts was throwing a little bit of inaccurate passes when it came to the deep ball. So that's usually the issue. I mean, a lot of people were all over actually were all over Allen when he came into the league, because they were like, well, he got a cannon, but he can't control it. And now he's actually getting better. So with that said, let's take a look here at Herbert. He clocked a 4.69, which is very impressive. Okay, Herbert's a good player. Today, spoiler alert, Herbert and Jalen Hurts were my top two. I will rank them in a few minutes of who I think is a little bit better than the other. But overall, he looked pretty good. Justin Herbert, of course, the quarterback out of Oregon, 6'6", 236 pounds. Big quarterback. He looked really good in the Senior Bowl, looked good in Senior Bowl practice, usually hit a lot of his targets, doesn't really hesitate to take off if he needs to. Overall, really good job by him, and he looked pretty good. Cole McDonald today was pretty impressive. He ran a 4.58 with a 6'3", at 6'3", 215 pounds. Really good job by him, and he's a young man out of Hawaii. Overall, I thought he actually
played extremely well, and he threw extremely well today. And for being such a big dude, he looks like he could be pretty mobile as well, because with a 4.58, that is damn good. So anyway, with that said, we have that, and of course we knew the guy that'll blow the roof off, Jalen Hurts, a 4.59, which actually Cole McDonald beat him by a tenth of a second with a 4.58, but still a 4.59. He looked very good. He looked great in his agility. He looked good in his accuracy. More than anything, y'all, this is the crazy part about quarterback is, see, like I told you, we look at different things. You notice I'm not going to bring up certain things. Receivers, I'm not going to care about their bench press. Yeah, I'm going to bring up, that was an awesome bench press today. Okay, absolutely awesome bench press today by Cephas, but it's not like it's going to matter all that much because he's supposed to be a receiver. I mean, it's a great thing to have. He can get out. He can beat a defender, push off. I mean, not for the pass, but, off the line of scrimmage. He can definitely do that. He'd probably be a really good blocking receiver as well. But overall, you want to see their 40 and you want to see their vertical. And more than likely their broad too, so they're, you can see their explosion. Sorry. But with that said, Herbert looked pretty damn good, as I mentioned. Kelly Bryant actually looked pretty good too. And Kelly Bryant actually looks very good. He threw very well today. He ran a 4.69. Somebody who I want to highlight as well, out of Colorado, Steven Montez, ran a 4.68, and he is a very good player. You can see he was bombing these balls, and he was actually pretty accurate deep. So he was one of the more accurate quarterbacks when throwing the ball deep, and he looked very good. So him, as well as let's see here, Shea Patterson actually looked pretty good as well. Decent balls. I thought he'd be a little faster. He ran a 4.71. I mean, it's not slow or anything, especially for a quarterback, but I just kind of thought he'd throw a little bit faster. And then I want to get to this real quick. The most prolific pocket passer, in my opinion, out of everybody today, was Brian Lewerke out of Michigan State. He was actually the best pocket passer, I think, out of everybody. He didn't really, come on, the guy clocked, a 5 flat? Or, let me see, it was a 4.95, okay? Not the fastest guy out there. But guess what? He definitely has poise in the pocket. He has a very good arm. He's very accurate. He hit almost everything, okay? He didn't really overthrow his receivers. All the short routes he was fairly accurate on. Or actually a little bit more than. He's above average accurate. I don't think he missed any targets, but kind of fuzzy right now. I was watching a lot today of the combine, but overall he did really, really well. And then I want to jump into, of course, the 40s for some of these receivers, okay? And Chase Claypool, this guy looked great. I mean, Senior Bowl practice, Senior Bowl, he looked good. He continues to look good in the combine. He clocked a 4.45, which is a very good 40. And as I mentioned, he played great in the Senior Bowl. He was all over the place. Very good player. And overall, y'all, I'm excited for Chase Claypool, man. A 4.42 official here. And at 6'4", 238 pounds, a 4.42 is moving. Okay, he is very good. Good long stride with his legs. Great job by him today. Also, somebody that looked really good in route running, and he is actually a lot faster than I thought he was, that I didn't even know who this guy was, out of Rhode Island, so that's an FCS school, Isaiah Coulter. Very good job here, and he looked really good. And I don't know if that's a FCS or a lower Division I AA, but regardless, I can't think. I know they're the Rams, but Rhode Island, but overall, Isaiah Coulter looked really good. He clocked a 4.46. Like I said, his official time was a 4.45, so it looked really good there. And yeah, I want to just single him out real quick. And as a matter of fact, Chase Claypool came back close to 4.43. Good job for him. As a matter of fact, let me take a quick look here. So 4.42 was official, and that was pretty damn fast. But the two more guys that I want to highlight here is Devin Duvernay. And this dude apparently is related to Kyler Murray, and he clocked a 4.4 flat, which is absolutely flying. I mean, seriously, the dude out of Texas is something else. I mean, really. Duvernay, that is, sorry. But he clocked actually a 4.39 is his official time, and he looked pretty good. He was catching pretty much everything. His closing speed was absolutely amazing, and he had a route, actually, that I loved. And I wanted to bring it up really quick because he looked great in this one drill. And I forgot who threw it to him. But let me see. Oh, Eason. Eason hit him on this, I think it was on the streak. But it's like he hit him in stride. He gets adjusted to his speed, and great job there. I mean, very, very, very good job by Eason to locate his receiver. That shows you how Eason has a pretty big arm, and even if he's a little inaccurate, you have Duvernay, who has this closing speed, who is extremely good. So, very good, talented receiver there. Then you have a guy like Justin Jefferson, clocked a 4.440. 4.44, and he actually looked really good as well. Very crisp through all the drills, great hands, great breaking speed. I think more than anything what I like about this guy is his speed to pull away. When he caught the ball, he was gone. It's like they dropped it in the bucket and he was gone. So 4.43 was his official time. And I mean, depending on his jumps here, let me go take a quick look here and see. And let's go ahead and start bringing in some of these guys' some of their verticals. We probably won't get to broad jump tonight, but it's all good. So, 36. Okay, so there's a couple guys I also got to highlight as well. Look, now I see some different names. But yeah, I mean, wow. If you look at Justin Jefferson here, he did jump, and I thought I had him. Would you look at that? Okay. Okay, so Justin Jefferson, as a matter of fact, let me go on over to wide receivers and pull it up here. Okay, so Jefferson, where is he? Let's see if we can find him here somewhere. Or did he jump? He might have forewent the jumps. And I think he did. Yes, he did not jump today, so it's all good. But somebody who I did want to highlight, because this dude jumped extremely well. And he looked very, very, very good. Of course, as I mentioned, Claypool jumped to 40.5. Jalen Rigger actually jumped to 42, and the highest jump was Donovan Peoples-Jones, who also looked pretty good in his drills today. Very, very good closing speed. Oh, Justin Jefferson jumped a 37.5. So, a 37.5, y'all. Think about that. A 37.5. This was the 4.4340 or 4.44. Yeah, 4.4340. That says so much. Along with his drills, I hope he's a first rounder because he looks like he can be a total first rounder. Such a great athlete, great hands, looked great in the gauntlet. And overall, he had a pretty good day at the combine. So I liked him. Also, we have here Tyree Cleveland, a 4.51 actually, looked pretty good as well. And then another guy who I really thought was very special, Antonio Gandy Golden. He clocked a 4.60, well actually, 4.6 flat. And he's at 6'4", 233 pounds, and he hit 22 on bench. That says a lot because this dude he's special, okay? And I tweeted that earlier because that is very impressive. For this young man to come out and do that, he also jumped a 36 vert. So that goes to show you how good he is. I mean, he's out of Liberty, and Liberty this year, I think they had a pretty big year. I think they won their bowl game, but he is a very good talent, and I really hope that he goes somewhere where they can utilize his skills because he is very, very good. So he looked pretty darn good today. And next up here, we have, let's see here. Yeah, so Cephas, I also wrote, was amazing through the the gauntlet. Also, Aaron Fuller. This guy didn't have numbers that popped out. He really didn't. I mean, I couldn't tell you that I was, like, blown away by his numbers, okay? Taking a look here. Let's take a quick look here and see if I can find any of his numbers. Okay, let's see here. He did not jump. Did he jump? Yes, he jumped to 34. Okay, it's okay. It's not like it's that great, but, the guy, I mean, bench press, we're not going to even look at that because, as I mentioned, it's not really that important for a wide receiver. But when it comes to his 40 time, let's see here. Fuller ran okay, well, apparently he's on the first page. I was on the second page. Sorry about that, y'all. So Fuller ran a 4.59. That's good. That's a good average time for a receiver. It's good. It's not like it's bad or anything. But what I liked about this guy is a 34 vertical and a, what was that again? A 4.59 40. Those are good times for a receiver. Not mind-blowing, not crazy good. But what I like about him is every single time he's running a route, he is like attentive to that route. Like you see the route he is running. It's like poetry in motion watching this guy because he has really good footwork, and footwork takes you such a long way. His ability to break down, not take extra steps to catch the ball on the comeback route, he looked really good at that. And I just wrote, as a note here, as saying about him being a receiver, but he's a natural receiver because he is. He has great hands, soft hands. The ball's throwing extremely hard. Those balls are thrown very hard at that level. And he just catches and goes. And he has great speed. So honestly, I think he's going to end up somewhere. He could end up like McCole Hardman, just ending up on the Chiefs and being a big part of them when they need him. I mean, yeah, of course I know that's everybody, but I'm just saying he looked pretty good today. So also Stephen Goodroy, he looked pretty good as well. I put he had great hands out of Mississippi State. Tristan Jackson actually looked very good as well. He ran the gauntlet extremely well, the young man out of Syracuse. And overall, his hands are more than enough. He looks more of a, I don't know, he looks to be more of a, I don't know, maybe that single, that 50-50 type of receiver, because he has good hands. Like he really seems like he could win those jump ball battles. And as a matter of fact, let's go take a look at his vertical real quick, because he seems like a possession type of receiver. Even if he doesn't get very far, which I don't think his 40 time was all that bad. But yeah, so he ran a 4.5, so that's pretty damn good still. That's a very good 40 time. But overall, he seems to me like he's just that possession type. Like he's gonna help with some type of maybe something over the middle or something deep. I mean, overall, he has very good hands. And it's like he will probably win you a lot of jump ball battles. Okay, so he jumped to 36 today. So pretty good job. I mean, honestly, I think he can be that type of player. 6'1", 197 pounds. Overall, he has the tools you need. I saw him today catch a lot of really good balls, and he looked really, really well. So other than that, let's see here. Let's see if I made any more comments. Anthony Gordon actually looked pretty good out of Washington State, throwing some deep balls, but he was a little inaccurate, just like Justin Herbert. A little bit of accuracy issues, but he was a little bit better. And let's see here. Lewerke, as I mentioned, was a total pocket passer. And okay, Kevin Davison, the young man out of Princeton, as I mentioned earlier, he's actually very accurate. Very accurate. But the only thing about him is, okay, he played in the FCS apparently, out of Princeton, but it seemed like he didn't have too much touch on some of those balls. Yes, he was accurate, but for instance, he drifted on some of those streaks. And I'll tell you what, y'all, you think the accuracy isn't the most important thing, or can't be the most important thing. Well, guess what? It can be, because he is an extremely accurate quarterback. But on those streak routes, when it drifted a little bit on him, guess what? that's a pick right there. See what I mean? So he looked pretty good, but his accuracy, I don't know, he might have accuracy issues. But overall, he worked hard enough to get to that combine. So, I mean, seriously, he looked pretty good. As I mentioned earlier, Steven Montez out of Colorado, a 4.58 40, looked pretty damn good. We're getting in the second group now. I'm going to go a little bit over an hour here. But Jerry Jeudy with a 4.46 40 today. He also looked very crisp through all of his routes today. Denzel Mims with a 4.4 out of Baylor. He is also another receiver who I am very excited to see at the next level, because he had lots of big catches in today's combine, and he looked great. Darnell Mooney, I think, shocked everybody out of Tulane. This guy's like a track star. A 4.38 40. He also has some great catches. Michael Pittman, I thought he might be a little bit faster, but regardless, a 4.52 40 isn't a bad thing. He looked very good in drills today. Lots of great catches. Great closing speed, as we all saw at USC. He looked very good. I'm a big old USC fan, so he looked very good there. And overall, I really did like the fact that he was his football IQ. You can tell. His dad, of course, is a great receiver in the NFL. Won a Super Bowl with the Buccaneers in 2003. I mean, you can tell that football just runs in his blood. So, great job there. Also, Quez Watkins, as I mentioned earlier, clocking that 4.36 was huge. CeeDee Lamb caught one of the best balls of the night at the end of the night. And, of course, he clocked a 4.51. So it goes to show you his good speed. But overall, CeeDee Lamb is a receiver, a complete receiver. Total complete receiver. And why do I say that about CeeDee Lamb? Well, let's take a quick look here and go to his profile real quick. And I'll tell you why I think he's probably one of the more complete receivers of the entire combine. Okay, he's 6'2", 198 pounds. But overall, he just has everything you want. I mean, he goes up, gets the ball. In every route today, he made it a point to, like, overly stress every bit of the route. Like, when it was the comeback route, it wasn't just a quick, like, cut and turn. No, he cut and, like, sprinted at the ball and then cut again and then came back. Like, he's a talent. He's a very good talent, and I honestly think he's going to go he should be the first receiver off the board, maybe the second, depending on how it goes. But Denzel Mims, as I mentioned, y'all, with the 4.93s, I also took note here. He was definitely one of the better players. But overall, y'all, that's pretty much all I got. And he looked very good. Honestly, CeeDee Lamb was probably the guy that I just really wanted to highlight out of the receivers, because he looked extremely well. So, okay. So with that said, y'all, that's pretty much all I got. So we're going to be a little bit over an hour tonight, but that's all good. So, out of day one, if I got to pick my top tight ends, I got to tell you right now, my guys, my go-to, if I had to draft a tight end tomorrow, or draft out of all of these guys, if I got to pick, I'm going to give you 3 of them, okay? And overall, I just want to tell you that, yeah, I'm going to go off of their bench because they're going to need to be strong. And honestly, Josiah Deguara, this guy is a complete package at tight end, okay? As I mentioned earlier, the size says it all. 6'2", 242 pounds. He's a big dude, okay? 31 5/8 arms, longish arms, okay? And overall, with all of his skill today on the field, he looked very attentive. He looked very, very, very good. Okay, seriously, he looked like a student of the game. Okay, caught, I think, almost everything thrown to him today. And, you know, he wasn't the absolute fastest dude out there, but he definitely wasn't the slowest. He ran a 4.72, which is more than fast enough if you want somebody like him. So, I mean, overall, personally, I would pick him overall, because I want a strong physical tight end who was at the same exact time, you know, gonna get up and get the ball. I forgot his vertical, but he just seems very physical. And today, watching him through all those drills, he can catch extremely well. Next, I have got to go, and this was hard for me because we have so many good tight ends in this combine, but the dude who I really, really would like is Cole Kmet. This dude, a 4.7, I know it's not the fastest time, but I don't really care. This dude looked good, okay? He jumped a 37. That is extremely high. That's a very good job for a big boy like him. And you know what? They just, these Notre Dame guys, man, I don't know, but he looked great. 6'6", 262 pounds. You add a 37-inch vertical, to his numbers, and honestly, he's somebody that's very hard to pass up. So Kmet is somebody who I would take. And then my third guy, it was so close because, I mean, seriously, Sullivan is just somebody who I was like extremely impressed by. He looked very, very, very good today. Also, guys like Bryant, or Hunter Bryant, looked extremely well. Ossie looked really, really good as well. Pinkard. I mean, seriously, all these guys looked extremely well. Charlie Warner was very close up there. But if I gotta take one more guy, it's gotta be, and also Bryson Hopkins was extremely well. But if I gotta take one more guy, it's gotta be Dalton Keene. Because a 4'7" flat, okay, he's 6'4", 4'7" He's 6'4", 253 pounds. Arm length is 32 1/4. I mean, he looked really good, as I mentioned. Okay, he ran. Let's see, where was that again? I'm like all over the place, y'all. Sorry. 4.71, I believe. And overall, his vert, I mean, it doesn't necessarily like jump out at you, but still, he looked really good. Okay, so once again, a 4.71 40 time. Okay. And he just looked good. In all of his routes today, he was very fast through all of his routes. He ran through every one of them. I think, as a matter of fact, I think I slow up on one of them, which was like, okay, wait, dude, come on, man. But he looked pretty good. Honestly, he looked really good. He jumped to 34, so didn't jump off jump out of the gym or anything. Didn't jump out of the stadium. But overall, those are my guys because the fact that, I mean, of course, Thaddeus Moss was, he wasn't there, of course. He'll get well soon if his foot is fractured. But he'll probably be the first highlight off the board. But, out of the guys that performed today, those are my top three. So, moving on in now into the quarterbacks. I gotta tell you right now, y'all, Love looked really good, too. I forgot. Sorry, I didn't even mention him that much. But Love looked good. He did. He played extreme. Well, I mean, he played in the Senior Bowl. Looked pretty good as well there. But he threw pretty well overall. His 4-time was a 4.74, so yeah, not the best. But then again, it's a quarterback. It's like your arm is what really matters. But for being 6'4", 224 pounds, he's a big boy and he took off. Okay, so Jordan Love out of Utah State looked pretty dang good. And had his goes, but overall, I gotta give this my number one overall most complete quarterback, and the only reason why I chose him over Jalen Hurts, I know, sorry for some of you Jalen Hurts fans out there, only reason why is because accuracy is just a little bit better. Seriously, it came down to these two guys, in my opinion, for the best two quarterbacks out there. They were both in Group 1, and I just feel like, yes, Jalen Hurts ran extremely good 40 time, and he's going to do really good in the NFL, I believe. But Herbert was just behind him. I mean, maybe not like just behind him, but a 4.8, and Herbert just has a little bit more touch. He has a little bit more accuracy and a little more size. Now, size literally doesn't mean anything. I know 6'6", 236 for Herbert, and for Jalen Hurts, clearly, not that big, or not as big as he measures in at 6'1", 222 pounds, but still very durable, good athlete overall. And you know what? I just feel like it kind of came down to accuracy. Don't get me wrong, guys literally, okay, Montez had me tripping. Like I was really getting ready to put this guy in my top 3. His deep ball was very, very good. And Montez was a very close call because he's extremely agile on the field. Like, if you see him play, he played for my old offensive coordinator back when I was at RCC, Darren Cheverini, and he is a very good player. You can tell. I mean, he's very well coached. He's extremely tough. He ran a 4.68, which is pretty dang good. And he's a big dude, man. He's a 6'4", 231 pounds. He's a big guy, and he's fast. But when it comes down to it, nothing is going to substitute for that 100% accuracy that I think Herbert just has. So my number 1 and 2 are for sure Justin Herbert at number 1, and number 2 is going to be Jalen Hurts, because he's just a very good athlete. And then we get to number 3. this was hard. Because if you look at all these guys, they're all so close. As I mentioned, Love, very close. Cole McDonald really impressed me in that second group. He has very good accuracy, a lot like Steven Montez. Good deep ball. Kelly Bryant is also extremely close up there. Shea Patterson, I thought he'd run a little bit faster. I really did. But overall, he looked pretty good. And I thought that he looked good, but it was kind of a rough go for him in some cases, I'm sure. But, it didn't look too accurate in some cases today. Shea Patterson, we all know what he can do, but he was good, but it just didn't seem like the accuracy was 100% there all the time. Regardless, though, he's a fast dude. We know he can get out of the pocket and do damage. Brian Lewerke was a very good pocket passer today, and also Jacob Eason was a very good pocket passer today. And it did come down to those two guys for me. Nothing against Fromm. Fromm did good. He is also another pocket passer who you can see just sit back and throw. But if I got to pick somebody for that last spot, it's got to be Jacob Eason. Actually, I'm going to say Brian Lewerke, because Brian Lewerke was very consistent. Though his 40 time wasn't that great, his passes were all very accurate, and he was extremely, dialed in. Like, you can see, every time he would throw, he was trying to, one-up himself. He was always trying to deliver the best possible ball he can deliver. He wasn't just there to throw, if you know what I mean. He was there doing his thing. He was delivering nice, catchable balls, trying to hit these guys in stride. He's a pocket passer. It's not hard to tell he's a pocket passer. I'm sure he can get outside and run, but overall, he is a pocket passer, and those are my top three. Now, receivers. Okay. This was tough, but seriously, there's no other way to put it. My number one receiver, because he's so gosh damn complete. I mean, seriously, this guy is about as complete as it gets. He caught everything. He was all over the field. He has this knack for the ball that it is just hard to... I don't care if his 40 time wasn't the fastest or if his vertical wasn't the highest. He is the most complete receiver you're going to find in this very deep wide receiver class, and that is CeeDee Lamb. I mean, he made an incredible catch right at the end of the night. The young man out of Oklahoma is going to do great things in the NFL, and I am so excited to see this guy perform. He looked very, very, very good out there today. He played extremely well. He was catching so many different balls. He was looking great, and seriously, he's the kind of player that's going to help your entire offense get better because of how hard he works. So, I mean, you can tell. I don't even need to see him work hard to know that he works hard, okay? So he looked really good. And then my next receiver would have to be, and now I'm going to go with the speedster, of course, Henry Ruggs III. He looked extremely well. He's very fast. His agility goes with his speed. He's got great closing speed, as you know. He ran a 4.28 today, 4.27, and he is very, very, very good. So great receiver there. And then, I mean, there were so many of them, okay? We have we have Antonio Gibbs, of course. He, me loving those Memphis uniforms, those really cool uniforms. He looked very good. Good on all of his breaks. He had a great release. He clocked a 4.43 today. Justin Jefferson with a 4.43. I mean, him and... Okay, you know what? I got to give it to 4 guys. I'm sorry. Because Jalen Rigger even looked good out of TCU with a 4.7. He looked extremely good today, as well as Isaiah Coulter with a 4.45. Looked really good in all the drills. Denzel Mims is somebody who is really hard to not put in that list because he is extremely fast and did have a good day catching. But overall, you look at everything. You look at footwork. You look at catching the ball at its highest point. You look at taking extra steps. You look at the release and how they come out of their break, how they come out of their stance. You look at all those things together and their measurements. It's just hard to not give it to these 3 guys. I have to give it to 3. I'm sorry. There are so many receivers. I have to give it to 3. The first one is going to be Devin Duvernay, because this guy out of Texas ran a 4.39. Everything was like money to him today. He had closing speed like no one's business. If the ball was inaccurately thrown, he would catch up to it. if he had to wait for it, he would. But it's like you can tell his big speed. Like if you were to have to wait for it, he would totally wait, catch, break. I mean, he was gone. Okay, very quick receiver, very quick, and he is very complete. Then you have Justin Jefferson, who a 4.43. The guy, as I mentioned, I think we'll go to it. He jumped a pretty good vertical. He looked really good, y'all. He looked like a total, the total package at receiver today. He looked very, very, very good. And then the last guy to put on this list, and it is what it is, man. He ran a 4.42 today. He looked extremely well, and you heard me rave about him earlier, and you knew he was going to make this list. And that, of course, is Chase Claypool of Notre Dame. He is such a good receiver. Everything that came his way, he caught. I didn't see him drop anything. Of course, I wasn't watching at all times. I was eating and doing a bunch of different things at one time, and writing a paper and doing all kinds of stuff. But from what I saw, he looked very good. He looks like a student of the game. He just seems very good. I liked his ability to get up and catch the ball. Everything, even his fade route at the end of the show, if you want to call that at the end of the combine, he looked very good. So overall, those are my top players, y'all, for today. It was a very good day in Lucas Oil Stadium, and tomorrow we are right back at it with the big boys. We of course have tomorrow day 2 of the 2020 NFL Combine. Running backs, offensive linemen, and special teamers. So that will start at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. It'll end right at the same exact time as today, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time, and then you will get the show right after, as I mentioned. All right, so. Then I will have the other 2 shows on Sunday, and one in the morning and one in the evening to cover linebackers and defensive linemen, and then of course DBs, and then that will do it for the Combine. So, and then of course, like I mentioned, we'll all take turns like talking Combine next week. All of the shows here at iSports Radio, but this is where you're going to hear it first on 3 and Out, where I recap the days, react to the days, and that is that. So, big ups to everybody who performed today. One more big round of applause for all of them. They were amazing. Everybody showed out today. Very good groups, and seriously, such a big performance. Such a deep wide receiver class. Great quarterbacks. I mean, overall, this was a very good class, y'all. So as I always say, y'all, all glory to God. That's right, for without him, nothing is possible. To the man upstairs, lots of big ups to all of you out there listening, and couldn't appreciate y'all enough. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, and that is going to do it for the show. So, hey, you know the drill. Cue the music, because we're out of here. Alrighty, y'all, that is going to do it. Man, that was a little bit over. I know, my apologies, but I have a lot to say. So with that said, that will be that. Lots of great players coming your way. Lots of great talent coming to your team. Possibly. And that will be that. So with that said, y'all, this is me, boy, Larry, signing off. I will catch y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place, 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern time. If you're listening to the podcast, appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for showing us some love. You can catch me, your boy Larry, at the THEE_LB53 on Twitter. You can follow us all as a whole on Twitter at iSports Radio, on Instagram at iSports Radio, and also give us a like on Facebook. We'd certainly like that. Check us out at iSportsRadio.com, and where all podcasts are available, of course. Try and get us on Pandora. Other than Pandora, we're pretty much everywhere. And show us some love, y'all. With that said, that will do it for me. I will see y'all tomorrow. Until then, take care. And as always, God bless.